When something keeps reappearing in your life, a person, a name, a memory, a feeling, it's not just nostalgia or emotional residue, it's confirmation, it's not a coincidence, and it's not happening to mess with your mind. It's happening because there's a greater intelligence working behind the scenes, trying to communicate something that your logical mind may not yet be ready to understand. The universe, life itself, often sends signs before it delivers substance. It whispers before it roars. And when those confirmations keep showing up, despite your efforts to move on, forget, or numb yourself, it's a message you can afford to ignore. People often mistake this spiritual repetition as emotional weakness. They think they're obsessing, when in reality they're sensing. They think they're stuck in the past, when in fact they're receiving glimpses of a destined future. And this is where the real struggle begins. The internal war between what you feel in your spirit and what you see in your reality. The world might not look like it's leading you there. Your current circumstances might seem to contradict that possibility entirely. But those confirmations, those reappearances, those undeniable nudges, they keep happening because the journey isn't complete. You may try to distract yourself. You may throw yourself into your work, into other relationships, into numbing routines and meaningless habits. You might even convince yourself that you've let go, but late at night or early in the morning when everything is still, it comes back. The thought, the image, the pull, and with it a feeling that you can't name. A knowing that you can't suppress. That's not weakness. That's not emotional immaturity. That's alignment in progress. It's life, gently, or sometimes loudly, showing you that what's meant for you isn't behind you or gone. It's waiting for you to become ready. This is where people misunderstand the confirmation. They want the connection, but they don't want the preparation. They want the result, but they resist the process. The confirmation comes to prepare your heart for what's ahead, not just to remind you of what once was. It's calling you to rise, to shift, to transform. It's asking you to trust what you can't yet prove. That's why I don't stop. Because your spirit is locked onto something real, even if your eyes can't yet see it. This level of spiritual persistence is uncomfortable. It shakes you. It disrupts your routine. It challenges your logic. It keeps you restless because it's not satisfied with the life you're settling for. And no matter how many distractions you place in your path, that feeling, that sense of divine confirmation walks right through them. You'll meet people who temporarily silence it, but it returns. You'll dive into work that briefly masks it, but it returns. You'll tell yourself it was just a phase, but it returns because it's not leaving until you respond, not react. Respond. You weren't created to chase shadows, but you were designed to follow light. And the confirmation is light. It's a sign that there's something ahead that your soul recognizes long before your mind does. This is why you can't ignore it. It's not just a thought. It's a soul level message. It's not just about being together with a person. It's about becoming the person who's ready to receive that connection. This is the part people overlook. They want the reunion without the refinement. But life doesn't work that way. The repetition, the signs, the symbols, the songs, the dreams, the encounters, they all have one purpose: to shift your attention inward. To stop you from numbing the very guidance you asked for, to reawaken your heart, to break down your walls, to stir up the belief you buried under disappointment and fear. It's not about wishing, it's about becoming someone who trusts the unseen, someone who embraces the mystery, someone who doesn't run from confirmation, but runs toward preparation. What you have to understand is this: divine timing is not delayed timing, it's perfect. And the confirmation is evidence that something is moving, even when everything around you looks still. It's a signal not just to hope, but to act. Not just to believe, but to grow. Not just to wait, but to prepare. The confirmation won't stop because the work isn't finished, because the alignment hasn't happened yet, because the moment you're meant to live hasn't arrived, but it's close. That's why it's persistent. That's why it shows up in the quiet moments when you think you've moved on. Because what's truly meant for you doesn't vanish, it evolves. It matures alongside you. And the confirmations are simply reminders that you're not crazy, you're not broken, and you're not alone. You're being led. That pull is not weakness. That dream that keeps showing up isn't a distraction. That thought that won't go away, it's an invitation. An invitation to align with what's always been yours. You don't need permission to believe in it. You don't need validation to hold on to it. All you need is trust. Not in what you see, but in what doubt is a strange companion. It creeps in quietly, often after moments of deep clarity. You feel something powerful, an emotional wave, a flash of insight, a presence you can explain, and almost immediately after, doubt steps in and whispers, "You're overthinking this." And just like that, you begin questioning everything. You begin suppressing what you felt only moments ago. But what if you're not overthinking? What if you're being called? There's a depth of knowing that lives beyond the reach of reason. It doesn't shout. It doesn't make a scene. It's gentle, persistent, and undeniable. That feeling that someone or something is meant to be in your life, that you're connected to something greater than yourself, it's not imagination. It's a call. A call that your soul recognizes even when your mind tries to deny it. You're not crazy for feeling it. In fact, you're more sane than most people walking around numbing their intuition just to feel safe in their logic. You live in a world that trains you to doubt anything that can be proven, anything that can be weighed or measured. But not everything valuable can be held in your hand. Some of the most real things you'll ever encounter, love, intuition, purpose, are invisible. Yet they move mountains within you. They guide your decisions. They stir up your deepest desires. They draw you to people who feel familiar even though you've never met them. They pull you into moments that feel scripted, ordained, divine. And every time that happens, there's a temptation to push it away because it doesn't fit inside the safe box of logic. But what's real doesn't always make sense. In fact, most of what is real transcends sense. It speaks to your spirit, not your intellect. That's why when you feel this pull, you must stop labeling it as fantasy. Stop reducing it to coincidence. Stop trying to explain it away. Every time you feel it, you're touching something sacred. You're not being obsessive. You're being awakened. And awakenings don't come in silence. They come with signs, synchronicities, waves of emotion that refuse to be buried. They come in dreams, in repeated messages, in the way your heart stirs when you think of someone specific. It's not your imagination. It's your spirit recognizing something that's yours. The real battle isn't against logic. It's against fear. Because once you accept that you're being called, you have to admit there's more to life than you thought. You have to admit you were made for more. And that scares people. Most would rather stay in the predictable prison of what they know than step into the wild beauty of the unknown. But if you want to be free, you have to break out of that pattern. You have to stop silencing what your heart is screaming to hear. You know, this isn't about fantasy. It's about alignment. It's about seeing what others miss, because you're tuned into a different frequency. That person who won't leave your thoughts, who shows up in your dreams, who seems to reappear in your life again and again, there's a reason for it. You can try to push them away. You can try to ignore the feeling, but it keeps returning because it's a part of your story that hasn't finished being written. That's the call, not a command, not a demand, but an invitation to believe in more than what your five senses can detect. It's painful sometimes. Because when you feel something that can't be seen, you begin to feel isolated. You begin to wonder why nobody else understands, why everyone else seems to have moved on or let go so easily. But that's because they're not you. They don't carry what you carry. They haven't been shown what you've been shown. You were given that vision, that feeling for a reason. It's not your job to convince anyone else of it. It's your job to respond to it, to honor it, to sit with it until it reveals its next step. This is where the transformation begins, not when everything makes sense, but when you trust yourself even when it doesn't. That's when life starts to shift. That's when you begin to walk by faith, not by fear. When you stop needing proof and start listening to the proof already echoing within you, that whisper, that persistent inner nudge, that random thought that returns in different forms, those are not random. They are road signs from the unseen, pointing you forward. There is a call on your life, and it doesn't play by the rules of the world. It doesn't require permission, validation, or confirmation from others. It simply requires your attention. When you feel it, you don't need to rationalize it. You need to respect it. That feeling that won't go away is a key to the next chapter of your evolution. You are not being haunted by memories. You are being summoned by destiny. You are not stuck in the past. You are standing at the edge of your future. And that sensation you keep feeling is the door beginning to open. When you start to respond to the call instead of doubting it, you stop living small. You begin to tap into your authority, your intuition, your divine design. And though the road ahead may still be unclear, the call itself is the compass. It's the guiding force pulling you closer to what's already aligned with you, what already knows your name, what's already been waiting for your readiness. Most of the emotional pain you carry doesn't come from what's happening around you. It comes from the internal battle between what your heart knows is real and what your mind is trying to deny. You feel something powerful, a connection, a sense of purpose, a pull towards someone or something, but instead of embracing it, you resist it. You fight it. You try to reason it away, suppress it, silence it. And that resistance becomes the root of your suffering. You're not hurting because something is wrong with you. You're hurting because you're at war with what's right for you. You keep telling yourself to move on, to forget, to grow past it. You convince yourself that you're foolish for still feeling this way. You put on a strong face. You try to stay distracted, to stay busy, to look forward. But deep inside, there's a knowing that keeps resurfacing, a deep awareness that there's a reason you haven't been able to shake it off. That kind of weight doesn't come from nowhere. That persistent feeling, that repeated image, that invisible magnet pulling you back again and again, it's not there to torture you. It's there to guide you. When something is meant for you, your soul feels it before your eyes see it. And when you keep resisting what your spirit is already aligned with, you create pressure within yourself. You create sadness, confusion, frustration. You don't understand why you're still stuck emotionally when you've done everything right. But the truth is, doing what's right by logic is not always right by destiny. And until you stop fighting what your heart already knows, you'll keep feeling like something is missing, no matter how many distractions you pile on top of that truth. The resistance isn't noble. It's not strength. It's fear disguised as logic. It's pain dressed up as pride. And deep down, you know that letting go of the fight doesn't mean giving up your dignity. It means giving in to what's real. It means surrendering, not to another person, but to your own truth. And truth doesn't always fit in the timelines we create. It doesn't care about what others will think. It doesn't shrink to make your ego feel comfortable. It demands space. It wants to be lived. And when you keep ignoring it, when you keep trying to silence it, your life starts to feel hollow, even if everything on the surface looks perfect. This is what people don't talk about enough, that the deepest form of pain comes from not listening to yourself, from not trusting your own soul, from convincing yourself that what you felt wasn't real, when every part of you knows it was. It's easier to tell yourself that the door is closed, that the chapter is over, that you've moved on. But if you have to keep reminding yourself that you've let go, chances are you haven't. Because letting go isn't something you force. It's something that happens when peace has replaced purpose, when the lesson has been learned, when the soul no longer feels the pull. Until then, what you're calling strength is actually resistance. And that resistance is exhausting. It drains you. It makes you cold. It makes you question your intuition. You begin to wonder if you're just too emotional, too intense, too soft. But you're not too much. You're just carrying something that needs to be acknowledged. And the longer you suppress it, the heavier it becomes. The resistance grows into bitterness. The denial becomes a cage. And before you know it, you're walking through life feeling disconnected. Not because life isn't offering you beauty, but because you're not allowing yourself to feel what's real. Stop fighting it. Stop pretending you don't care when you do. Stop acting like it doesn't matter when it does. Stop wearing pride like armor when all it's doing is isolating you from the very thing you crave. You don't have to announce it to the world. You don't have to chase anything or anyone. You just have to stop resisting the truth that's been knocking on your heart over and over again. Let yourself feel what you feel without guilt, without shame. Let yourself believe that maybe, just maybe, what keeps coming back to you is coming back for a reason. You don't have to understand the entire picture. You don't have to control every outcome. You just have to stop swimming against the current of your own soul. The confirmation you keep receiving, the signals you keep picking up on, they're not hallucinations. They're not emotional leftovers. They're alignment indicators. They are pointing you back to something your life is supposed to touch. And you won't have peace until you stop pretending you don't feel it. This is not about weakness. This is not about being stuck in the past. This is about surrender. Not surrender to a person, not surrender to a memory, but surrender to a path. A path that you didn't choose, but one that chose you. And your job is not to make sense of every twist and turn. It's to walk with the honesty your soul deserves. You've spent enough time fighting your own truth. It's time to feel it fully. Let it breathe. And stop calling resistance strength. Because true strength is surrendering to what's real, even when it doesn't make sense to anyone else. Most of the pain people carry isn't from what happened, but from the resistance to what happened. They don't suffer because of the experience. They suffer because they won't let themselves feel it fully, face it honestly, or release it completely. That's where bitterness is born. And bitterness has a strange way of disguising itself as strength. It convinces you that holding on is power, that guarding yourself is wisdom, that ignoring your feelings is maturity. But healing doesn't happen through avoidance. It happens through surrender. And if you've been receiving confirmation after confirmation that something or someone is meant to be in your life, yet you're still filled with anger, hurt, or disbelief, it's not because the connection is gone. It's because your heart is still clogged with what it hasn't released. People want clarity. They want answers. They want to feel peace. But they try to get there without going through the process of healing. They want love without vulnerability. They want destiny without preparation. And they want reunion without purification. But it doesn't work that way. If you're still carrying emotional debris from past wounds, especially if they came from that very person you keep being reminded, you won't be able to receive the full blessing of that connection. Not because it isn't for you, but because you're not yet able to hold it. Healing isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming open. It's about clearing out what doesn't serve the version of you that's being called to rise. And sometimes the very thing that's keeping the connection apart isn't the circumstances or timing or external blocks. It's the unresolved emotion in you. The bitterness, the resentment, the silent blame, the unspoken expectations. You have to face that, not for them, but for you. Because bitterness doesn't protect you, it imprisons you. It turns your heart into a guarded fortress where love can't enter and peace can't dwell. To heal, you have to first tell yourself the truth, not the polished version you give others, not the strong act you put on to look like you've moved on. The truth. The truth about how deeply it hurt. The truth about how much you still care. The truth about how often you think about them, even when you pretend not to. You can't clean a wound you won't uncover. And you can't release pain you won't admit exists. That's the cost of healing radical honesty. And that honesty often reveals that you're not done yet. You're not over it. You're still connected. And that's not weakness, that's awareness. When confirmation keeps coming, but you feel blocked from embracing it, that's your cue to go within. To sit with the feelings you've buried. To look your anger in the face and ask it what it's protecting. To have conversations with the parts of you that got hurt and to let them know it's safe to soften now. The healing is the preparation. You're not waiting on them, you're waiting on your own readiness. And readiness comes through inner work, not outer change. Letting go of the pain doesn't mean denying what happened. It means choosing to see beyond it. Choosing to believe that even the pain had a purpose. Choosing to find growth in the disappointment. Choosing to stop defining your future by the failures of the past. You can want a future with someone and still be angry about how things unfolded. That tension is normal, but the longer you hold on to the wound, the longer you delay the healing that makes you magnetic to the next chapter. If you've been shown over and over again that something is meant for you, but you can't seem to grasp it emotionally, that's your sign. The healing hasn't finished. You've got to clean your energy. You've got to release what's stuck. That may mean crying out what you refuse to feel. That may mean forgiving them for the apology they never gave. That may mean forgiving yourself for how you showed up. It may mean letting go of your pride. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to know that pride never healed a heart. This process is sacred and it's slow, and that's okay, because you're not trying to rush back into a connection. You're trying to become the person who can hold it with grace, depth, and strength. The kind of strength that doesn't come from resistance, but from release. And as you begin to heal, you'll notice something powerful. The confirmations will start to feel less painful. The memories will feel less sharp. The dreams will feel more peaceful. Why? Because you're no longer resisting them. You're receiving them. Your heart is no longer a battlefield. It's becoming fertile ground. A place where love can actually grow, not just visit. A place where truth is welcome, not feared. A place where the connection can finally land, not be chased or avoided. Because the healing created space. Because the forgiveness created access, because the release created readiness. Most people think healing is optional. They think they can skip the pain, bypass the process, and still walk into everything meant for them. But you can't fake readiness. You can't mask unresolved emotions and expect to carry a blessing that demands maturity. Healing isn't just about letting go of the past. It's about creating space for the future. You cannot hold what's destined for you with hands full of bitterness, guilt, or fear. That's why the healing must come first. Because what's ahead of you isn't ordinary, it's sacred. And it won't fit inside a broken container. You keep seeing the signs. You keep getting the dreams, the visions, the inner whispers that won't leave you alone. That's not random. That's confirmation. But here's the part that most people miss. Confirmation isn't the same as manifestation. You can be confirmed about something that isn't yet ready to enter your life. And the delay isn't punishment, it's preparation. The universe doesn't operate on your emotional urgency. It works on alignment. And until your heart is healed, you are out of alignment with what you're praying for. So many are asking for love, but they haven't forgiven. They're asking for peace, but they're still addicted to chaos. They want wholeness, but they haven't been willing to sit with their wounds long enough to clean them. Healing is messy. It's uncomfortable. It requires solitude, honesty, and deep reflection. But it's necessary, because the version of you that's waiting on the other side of healing is the only version that can fully experience what's meant for you. There's a reason why certain people don't return until you've done your inner work. There's a reason why some doors stay closed until your energy shifts. It's not rejection. It's redirection. Being led back to yourself, the deepest, purest version of yourself, not the one who's guarded, scared, or operating from old patterns, but the one who's free, open, and strong enough to handle what's coming. You don't need more signs. You need more healing. Because the signs are already showing you the path. What's missing is the version of you who can walk it. Healing doesn't mean you forget what happened. It means you finally stop letting it define you. It means you release the grip of the story you've been repeating in your head. It means you stop blaming them and start rebuilding you. It means you take ownership of your growth. You start to ask real questions. Why did that hurt so deeply? Why am I still triggered? What belief am I holding on to that keeps me stuck? Those questions are uncomfortable, but they're the gateway to freedom. You can't grow around the pain, you have to grow through it. And when you do, everything begins to shift. The energy changes. Your mindset upgrades. Your heart softens without becoming weak. You stop looking for validation and you start living from a place of truth. You begin to understand why certain people left. You begin to see why the silence was necessary. You start to appreciate the waiting because you realize it gave you the time to become. That's the secret most never discover. The waiting wasn't a pause. It was a process, a sacred, intentional process of healing. No one tells you how hard it is to unlearn the beliefs that kept you safe but small. No one tells you how heavy it feels to sit with memories you've spent years avoiding. No one warns you that real healing requires the death of your ego. But when you surrender to it, when you finally stop pretending you're okay and allow the healing to work through you, you begin to feel lighter. You stop clinging. You stop chasing. You stop trying to control the outcome. Because you trust that the right things, the destined things, will meet you on the other side of your healing. You cannot attract what you secretly believe you don't deserve. That's why the healing is so crucial. Because as long as you see yourself through the lens of your past, you keep pushing away the very thing you've been praying for. You'll sabotage connections. You'll confuse love for danger and safety for boredom. Healing rewires the way you receive. It cleans the filter through which you see the world. It doesn't erase the past. It reclaims your power from it. People often wonder why the confirmation won't go away, why the same person or path keeps reappearing in their dreams, thoughts, or environment. It's not to tease you. It's to prepare you, because something sacred is trying to enter your life, and it can only do so when your inner environment is clear, not perfect, but open, not without pain, but without resistance. And that's what healing does. It removes the resistance. It makes room. It tells life, I'm ready now. Not because I forced it, but because I fixed what was broken inside me. Every delay you face, every moment that seems like it's standing still, is not a sign that you've missed your chance. It's not an indication that something is wrong or that you're being punished. What you're experiencing is not the end of a story. It's the refinement of the journey. Every pause, every moment of waiting is a chapter of preparation. The divine timing of your life is at play, and it's not moving at the pace you think it should, because you're not yet where you need to be in order to handle what's coming. The delays you face are part of your growth, not your punishment. The waiting process often feels frustrating, like you're stuck in a place where nothing is happening. But in truth, things are happening. You are being prepared. You are becoming the person who will be able to handle the blessings that are on their way to you. But in order to embrace these blessings, you must first embrace the process. This is not just about waiting for the right person or the right opportunity. It's about becoming the right person for that moment when it arrives. You cannot rush this process. You cannot skip the stages of transformation that are necessary for your evolution. It's easy to get caught up in the frustration of not seeing immediate results, but in truth, the results are unfolding right now. The preparation is happening in the spaces you can't yet see. You are growing even when it feels like you're standing still. This process is not meant to punish you. It's meant to build you, to equip you, to elevate you to a level where you can handle the gift that's about to be placed in your hands. The growth that happens during the waiting period is often invisible to the eye. It's not the growth you can touch or measure, but it's the growth within. It's the work that's being done on your spirit, on your heart, on your mind. The waiting period is the space where you learn patience, where you cultivate trust, where you strengthen your resilience. Without these qualities, you would not be able to carry the magnitude of what's coming. Without this preparation, you wouldn't be able to fully appreciate the blessing that's on its way. When you're in this space of waiting, the key is to stop viewing it as a limitation. You are not trapped. You are not stuck. You are being shaped. You are being refined. You are being elevated. The world is not moving too slowly. You are becoming the person who will rise to meet the opportunity when it comes. When the timing is right, everything will align, and you will understand that every moment of waiting was necessary. You will see that every delay was essential for your growth. There is a specific timing for everything in life, and your timing is not determined by the clock. It's determined by the lessons you need to learn, the growth you need to experience, and the strength you need to gain in order to step into the next phase of your life. The delays aren't keeping you from your destiny. They are guiding you toward it. The waiting period is not a pause in your life. It's a season of preparation for what's to come. It's crucial to understand that the process of waiting is not about passivity. It's not about sitting idly by hoping for things to change on their own. No, this is an active process. During this time, you are becoming someone new. You are shedding old layers, breaking through old limitations, and building a foundation strong enough to support the success, the relationship, the opportunity that is about to arrive. This time is not wasted. It's an investment in your future. The space between now and the fulfillment of your desires is where your character is shaped. This is where your patience is tested, your trust in the process is built, and your resilience is strengthened. And it's this very growth that will equip you to handle what's on the horizon. This is the time to focus on your inner transformation, to focus on your development. What you do during the waiting period matters. How you respond to the delays and how you carry yourself during this season will determine the quality of your experience when things finally shift. If you rush through this process, you will miss the discomfort of the wait. You must sit in the stillness, trusting that everything is unfolding as it should, even if you can't see it yet. Your waiting is not in vain. It is the foundation being laid for the incredible things that are coming into your life. Trust that the universe, life itself, is preparing everything for you in perfect timing. What you are waiting for is coming, but it will only arrive when you are ready to receive it. And in order to be ready, you must use this time wisely. You must grow, develop, and become the person who can handle what's coming. Every delay, every moment of waiting is a step toward the greatest chapter of your life. The waiting process is not about doing nothing. It is about preparing your heart, mind, and spirit to fully embrace what is coming. When the moment of alignment comes, you will be ready. And when it arrives, you will understand that every moment of waiting was part of the divine plan. Every delay was part of the design. Everything is happening exactly as it should. And in time, you will see the beauty in every step of the process.